Basically, any backpacker I've ever met loves chatting about gear, and so do I. So this week, I want to share with you 3 items that I would upgrade if I could. So last year, I went on my very first backpacking trip, and I chose the Pacific Crest Trail as my first experience. Before that point, I had never gone backpacking. I had never even slept in a tent. So I was completely new at this. Also, I didn't know anyone who had done anything like this before. So the only thing I could do was watch a bunch of YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, and read a bunch of blogs online to figure out what I needed for this trip. So I researched a lot, and it took me quite a while, but eventually I got all my gear together, and I definitely bought some of these items based on, some of my fears. And when I say fears, I mean lack of competence, not being warm enough, and having some foot, ankle, knee, hip issues that I was afraid were going to be an issue out on the trail. So for me personally, weight is a leading factor. With that said, I do think that everyone's journey is personal. Everyone has different bodies, goals, and still fears. So do whatever works for you. However, I do feel like physical limitations are a really good reason to go ultralight. I'd say these items are kind of the most expensive backpacking items that you can think about. So this is still very much a wish list. And I think that you can still go out and go backpacking, even if it's not with your dream gear. So the first item I would swap out is my tent. This is the Big Agnes Tiger Wall 2-person tent. It weighs 1.1 kilos or 2.5 pounds. It's a semi-freestanding tent, so I have to carry these tent poles as well. And of course, I have a bunch of stakes that I need. I do think that there's a good use for this semi-freestanding tent. Before I started hiking the PCT, I went on a little trip to the Lake District in the UK to test out some of my gear. It was extremely windy, so this tent stayed up, and I sometimes wonder if a trekking pole tent would have stayed up in those conditions too. I went for a semi-freestanding tent in the first place. I was a little bit too scared to go for a trekking pole tent because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to put it up as a beginner, and that's purely because I heard some guy say that on a podcast. In the end, I do regret that decision a little bit because I've seen loads of people with trekking pole tents, and I don't think you have to be a genius to put that up. Also, this is a 2-person tent, and I got that because someone else said that they got claustrophobic in a 1-person tent. So again, one of my fears. I have to say it's nice if you are out with another person, of course. And it's also nice to be able to take all your gear with you inside your tent, but I definitely don't think that's a reason to get a 2-person tent. Also, I'm not that tall, so even in a 1-person tent, I'm sure I could stuff some of my gear by my feet, and most of the stuff will be in the vestibule anyway, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with putting your gear in the vestibule. On the top of my list is a trekking pole tent. I am kind of eyeing a Durston X-Mid Pro 1-person tent or the Z-Pax Plex Solo. Both of these are Dyneema and ultralight. It really shaves off probably half the weight of my current setup, not just in terms of the tent, but it would also mean that my footprint is a lot smaller, so I can take half of the Tyvek that I take right now. I just think that the weight and volume savings are worth it. I would never go hiking without my trekking poles anyway, so yeah, I will always have those with me. Item number 2 is my sleeping bag. It weighs 892 grams or just under 2 pounds. I really love this one. It's a Sea to Summit Flame 4. It's rated for minus 10 degrees Celsius or 15 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a down sleeping bag with a closed foot box and a hood. This is also specifically for women, so that just means that there's some extra down in certain areas. And I love how warm and cozy it is, and definitely happy that I started out with this, but I would also really like to add a quilt. Again, it would be for weight savings, and also this sleeping bag is really warm. So for example, when I got to the Oregon section on the Pacific Crest Trail, I was actually really warm. So it would be nice to have a slightly cooler quilt and try that out. I think it would save a bunch of weight. It would make those nights a lot more comfortable. I don't really know what quilt I would go for. If you have any advice for me, let me know in the comments. But I have been looking at Feathered Friends in the past. Very high quality down quilts, but very expensive. And I think there's a bunch of other good options out there, but yeah, weight savings is a big thing. Another reason I would also want a quilt is because this has a closed toe box, which I love for when it's colder. But again, when it's hot outside, this is just too hot. I cannot get comfortable. Also, more generally, I feel like this sleeping bag is quite restrictive, so I can't really spread out my legs, or just it's maybe a little bit harder to get comfortable. And I feel like with a quilt that could be different. The last item I would change out is my backpack. This is the Osprey Aja 55-liter backpack. It weighs 1,250 grams or 2 pounds and 12 ounces. That is quite heavy for a backpack in my opinion. For now, I think this is great because I don't have like ultralight gear. So this backpack is actually quite sturdy and distributes the weight really well. However, if I swap some of this gear out, the contents will get lighter, and I think I can go for a more ultralight backpack. I would think of something like a Hyperlight, or maybe even a custom pack from Atom Packs. That would save quite a bit of weight. I think those are more around 900 grams. So yeah, that would be the third item that I would swap out. And then I have one bonus item that I would change, or that I would want to add on that's on my wish list. I now have this pump sack to inflate my sleeping pad. And while this is nice, like it works, I also use this to put my extra clothes and stuff in. Every night when I get to camp, I have to empty all of my stuff out. It's an instant mess in the tent. And then I can inflate my pad. On the PCT, once I got to the Sierras, I did get a little Thermarest pump that works on batteries when I reached Kennedy Meadows South, because I noticed that I got out of breath really easily and I was really dealing with altitude sickness. I didn't want to arrive at camp at night and then also have to use my precious breath to inflate my sleeping pad. So I got that little pump, which functioned great. I don't think the weight made a lot of sense. It was quite heavy, but it was so worth it at the time. What I would exchange this for is the tiniest little pump. I believe it's called Pad Pal. It's only 9 grams and it works on your power bank. So you can connect it with USB-C, and it is so tiny and lightweight. I bet it might be even lighter than this bag. In all honesty, I wouldn't just use that in the Sierras or like at altitude. A 9-gram pump I would carry with me everywhere. Of course, I know that there's also the option to just inflate it by like blowing up your pad with your mouth. As with like using a ground sheet for my tent, I feel like it's better to use a pump sack or like a little pump to inflate your pad. I believe it is better for like durability. I don't know, I feel like there is a lot of disagreement whether blowing up your pad with your mouth is bad for your pad, but I don't even want to risk it. Like, I'm quite set on taking care of my stuff. I would just take this or a pump any day. So let me know, what gear would you swap out and why? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I hope to create more of these kind of videos, not just about gear, but also sharing a little bit more about my adventures. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.